Good afternoon. I'm not doing a morning one. Imagine that. Yeah, right. I'm going to get straight into it because I want to do a quick one today. But I talk to a lot of guys who say, you know, I've got a sore lower back, I've got sore knees, I've got cranky shoulders, I've got knackered hips, my ankles are sore, I've got weak ankles, weak wrists, everything under the sun, right? And it's all connected. But I'm not going to go into all that. I'm going to go into why this happens. Yes, afternoon Tom Jones, not that one. Yeah, why do you get sore shoulders, sore hips, sore knees, sore elbows, everything? Why do you get that? Sore neck, most people have a sore neck. Why do you end up with that? And I'm going to link this back to what I did yesterday. I went for an 11-mile hike yesterday with 20 kilos in a backpack. And today, I went and bought a new backpack. I bought like an Army Bergen because they're better designed. It only cost me 30 quid. But I'm marching up and down Penny Van in South Wales. 15-mile walk, 24-kilometre walk with 16 kilos on my back. And I did my first training walk for it yesterday with 20 kilos on my back just to see how it would go, and it was sore. I'm fine from it because I've got strong in the past, so I can do it. But with the backpack I had, it isn't designed for anything to do with that. It's basically just a day pack. It's just to chuck some clothes in a bottle of water and stuff like that and go for a wander. So I thought, well, I could carry on using that and then hurt myself, or I could go and buy a proper one. Like I say, it was only 30 quid. So I went and bought a proper one, and I've just loaded it up. So what was happening with the old bag was all the weight was dropping to the bottom. It was pulling my shoulders back and like really getting sore. So I had to lean forwards to compensate for it. This new one, I can walk tall. It's all kind of distributed evenly around the bag. So this got me to thinking, right? The right tools for the job, moving well, all of this sort of stuff. Why people get injured. If I carried on with the old backpack, just from one walk yesterday, I know if I do 10 walks like that, it's going to hurt. I'm going to be constantly trying to avoid injury. Constantly trying to avoid it. And I see this, or I used to see it. I don't really go to gyms very much these days because I work outside with people, but I do see it with people actually. And I used to see it all the time in gyms. People stacking weights onto a barbell and doing a squat or doing bench or whatever it was, but stacking weights on and doing it really poorly. And it concerns me because that is it's going to eventually stop you somewhere down the road. So with this backpack, if I carried on, I'd probably end up doing this walk, but then not doing another one ever again because I'd be like, I can't do that because it hurts. And it doesn't, it's the way I do it that hurts. So yeah, I mean, just some examples. We've had guys down the park one guy who used to have a trainer who he worked with, he came down the park, he couldn't do a bodyweight squat without lifting his heels up, which you should be able to do. He could do it, he'd never been shown properly, so God knows what he was doing with his other trainer. No idea. We've had guys come down with various different injuries who say, I can't lift a weight above my head, I can't do squats, I can't run, I can't do anything, basically. There was one particular guy like that. You know who you are. And you know, these guys, one particular guy was basically on ibuprofen since he was 13. He's in his 40s now, so for the last 30 years he's been taking ibuprofen, which he was told to by his doctor, I think. I don't know. Not that there's anything wrong with doctors, but you know, I think this is what he was told to do. And since he's come along here, he's been doing squats, he's been doing presses, he's been doing swings, lots of different stuff. And it's made, he had a lot of injuries. He broke his elbow, he had like sore knees, sore hips, knackered feet, all of that, which was all from one particular thing, I think. I don't know that for sure, but I think it was. But I kind of knew what to do. And it sorted him out, and he's not in pain anymore. And this guy used to get back pain as well, which would have been the same issue, and he hasn't had that for a few months now. So this is kind of the stuff that we're dealing with. I had another guy who came down who didn't sign up in the end because he got a cheaper deal at a gym. Okay, and that does happen because it's not cheap. But he got a cheaper deal at a gym where he was wanting to run triathlons and stuff, or he was running triathlons. So he found a gym where he could do swimming, running, and then he could go out biking as well. The problem with that was this was a guy who told me when he went running he got unbearable pain in the arches of his feet. Unbearable pain. That's those words. You don't want those words to go together when you're doing something. Unbearable isn't good. So this guy was in his mid-40s, I think, and I said to him, how long are you going to run triathlons for? And he was like, well, as long as I can. And I was like, okay, do you want to be able to do it for the next 10, 15, 20 years? And he was kind of like, yes. And I was like, right, you're going to have to stop doing it now. Work on why you're getting unbearable pain in the arches of your feet. Because we'd gone through like movement assessments and stuff like that and done some bodyweight squats and all of this sort of stuff. And he was, there was bits that needed working on. And he, and he said, he did the 2-week trial, said it was absolutely fantastic. He really loved it. And then said, but I can go to the gym. I think it was the uni gym. I can't remember which one. But he said he could go to the gym cheaper. And it was like, well, yeah, you can. But if you carry on doing what you're doing, the way you're doing it, you're going to end up having to stop in 2 or 3 years and never be able to do it again because you'll ruin yourself. So, yeah, this is another reason. I've been on lots of reasons why I do this. And I realised when I first started out trying to get fitter and stronger, I was doing it all wrong. I thought, it's like, you just think, all right, it can't be that hard. There's people who spend years and years doing this and still have more to learn. But yet, when we know nothing, we still go, I'll be able to do it on my own, and then you get injured and then go, I'll have to stop. And then you have 3 months off, don't go back to it. Then half marathon time comes round or whatever, and you go, right, I'll go and do that, and then you have to stop. When you get injured, I've done it. I've done all that. I used to get injured just going for a 5-mile walk. I used to get a sore hip and a sore lower back. And I was, what was that? That was like in my mid-30s, and I was like, I can't be doing with this. I don't want to be like this for the rest of my life. Imagine if I'm like this in my mid-30s, what am I going to be like in my mid-40s and 50s? It's not what I want. I want to be able to go forever, especially considering by the time I get to 60 or 70, the medical science will have moved on and that, and everyone will be living to like 150 or something like that. They'll just not be able to move very well, they'll not be able to do anything, but at least you'll be alive. So I thought, bollocks to that, I want to be able to do stuff. So if you are doing stuff and it hurts, stop and find out why. That's all I'm going to say. Because otherwise you'll have to. If you don't stop now, you will be stopped. That's the way it goes. So if you're doing classes and stuff like that, where you're doing millions of exercises in 5 minutes, and then having like a minute break, and then doing another million exercises in 5 minutes and having a minute break, and it hurts, stop and find out why. I've got a guy who comes to me now who used to do a very popular aerobic type weights class, if that's what you can call it, I don't know, anyway, something like that. And he used to do with a bar, he used to do bench press on a Reebok step, and he told the instructor it hurt his back, and the instructor said, well, just don't do that then. And that's you know, you should be able to go up and say, right, if that's hurting your back, let's work on that. But in that class environment, which I fully understand, you can't do that, and it isn't for everyone. I'm not for everyone, but I'm not trying to be. But this guy's now come to me, and the first thing we did for 2 weeks, we just did a bunch of stretches, and I said, do these stretches at home, and he did. That was about a month ago. I think he's into his 4th week now. That was about a month ago, and he's now, you know, he's getting some swings together, doing some squats. He was cleaning and pressing the bell the other day. He's doing very well. So as that happens, the more he's able to do, the more he's able to move, the more he will be able to move. So that's what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with getting people fitter and stronger without smashing them to pieces. If you want to smash yourself to pieces, there's plenty of places around that'll do that for you, or you can do it yourself. Anyway, I'm done now. I'm still tired after yesterday. Oh dear. So, anyway, there you go. If you're hurting yourself, stop. And then find out why. Anyway, ta-ta.